The council chamber on Verexis Prime stood silent, holding its breath. It was a massive, circular room, glowing with soft blue light. Hundreds of alien leaders sat in their high seats, staring down at the platform in the center. The air was tense. For 2 centuries, Earth had been one of the Council's most trusted members. Today, that was about to change. Marcus Wilson stood alone on the center platform. He wore a plain black suit with a silver pin of Earth symbol on his chest. His face showed no fear, but deep inside his heart was heavy. This was the moment he had prepared for his entire life. The moment he had hoped would never come. He looked up at the thousands of eyes fixed on him. Some faces showed curiosity. Others showed anger. A few showed fear. But most of them, especially the council leaders, looked cold and ready to fight. At the top of the chamber, on a raised throne, sat Chancellor Zyron. His thin, pale face showed no emotion. His eyes, black as space, watched Marcus like a hunter watches prey. Marcus took a deep breath and spoke. Members of the Galaxy Council, his voice rang clear through the chamber. I come here today with a message from the people of Earth. He paused for a moment. No one moved. After long debate, and after witnessing years of corruption, lies, and control from this council, Earth has chosen to withdraw from your alliance. The room exploded in noise. Shouts, protests, and angry words filled the air. Many stood from their seats, pointing and yelling. Some demanded silence. Others called Marcus a traitor. Marcus stood tall, letting them shout. He knew they would react this way. Chancellor Zyron slowly raised his hand. The room fell silent again. He stood, his long black robe moving like smoke around him. Representative Wilson, Zyron said in a low voice that echoed in every corner of the chamber. Do you understand what you are saying? Earth's power comes from the Council. You leave, and you lose protection, trade, and peace. Marcus nodded. Earth understands, but we will no longer serve a council that uses us as a tool. Our people deserve to choose their own future. Zyron's face darkened. You speak of freedom, he hissed, but you are choosing war. You are choosing suffering. Without the council, Earth will fall. Marcus stared back without blinking. That is our risk to take. The chamber filled with whispers. Zyron took a step forward. His voice grew colder. Very well, he said. If Earth walks away, the Council will declare you a security threat. You will lose all rights, all trade, and all protection. You will stand alone, cut off from every world in this alliance. He leaned forward, his black eyes sharp as knives. And you will regret it. Marcus felt a wave of fear rise in his chest, but he swallowed it. His voice remained steady. We will face what comes, but Earth will no longer bow. With that, Marcus turned and walked off the platform. The chamber exploded again with shouting, but he didn't look back. His mind was already on Earth. He knew this was only the beginning. Trouble was coming, faster than anyone could stop it. As he left the chamber and stepped onto the ship that would take him back to Earth, Marcus whispered to himself, I hope I made the right choice. Far above, in the council chamber, Chancellor Zyron watched the ship leave. His cold smile slowly spread across his face. Let the games begin, he whispered. The return to Earth was not a hero's welcome. The moment Marcus Wilson's ship landed on the Earth Command platform in New London, a team of security officers surrounded him. They didn't salute. They didn't cheer. Their faces were blank, their eyes cold. Marcus could feel their disappointment, but he didn't blame them. He blamed himself. He walked through long steel corridors toward the Global Command Center. Earth's top leaders had been waiting for hours. No one had slept since the announcement on Verexis Prime. When Marcus stepped inside the command hall, the air was thick with tension. Rows of generals, scientists, and political leaders stood around the central table. Holographic screens showed live updates, rising fuel prices, empty cargo docks, shut down factories, and frightened citizens flooding the streets. Earth's sky ports had already gone silent. No ships in, no ships out. Commander Elena Brooks, leader of Earth's defense network, stepped forward. She was in her 60s, sharp-eyed, and always serious. Marcus had known her for years. He could tell she wasn't here to exchange polite words. You should have warned us, she said coldly. Marcus nodded. I follow the plan. We agreed to cut ties if the council crossed the line. Brooks stepped closer, her voice lowering to a hard whisper. You didn't tell us they'd respond this fast. You didn't tell us they'd block the planet. Marcus sighed. I knew they would cut trade. I didn't know they'd move this quickly with a blockade. Xiron wasted no time. The president of Earth's United Council, David Tran, stood from his seat. His face was pale. His hand shook slightly. We are trapped. Marcus. No fuel. No supply lines. No medicinas. The people are starting to panic. They're blaming the government. They're blaming you. Marcus swallowed hard. He had seen this coming, but he hadn't imagined it would feel this heavy. Blame me all you want, he said quietly. But Earth made the right choice. Tell that to the people losing their jobs. Brooks snapped. Tell that to the millions who can't eat next week if the council keeps this up. The screens flashed again. A new report. A live feed from Earth's outer orbit. Everyone in the room turned toward the display. A council fleet had arrived. Dozens of massive warships were positioning themselves in a ring around Earth. Their weapons were powered, but they hadn't fired. Not yet. Brooks' voice broke the silence. Xiron's fleet. Full blockade. No way in. No way out. Marcus clenched his fists. He's trying to choke us into surrendering. David Tran sank back into his chair. If he keeps this up, it will work. Marcus stepped closer to the table. No, it won't. We need to stand firm. We can't run back to them. Not after everything they've done. Brooks leaned in. So what's your plan, Marcus? How do you stop a blockade with no allies, no fleet strong enough to fight, and no one willing to trade with us? Marcus looked around the room. He saw fear in every face. But under that fear, he knew there was still hope. We find new allies, he said. Outside the council. Independent systems. The one Xiron doesn't control. The room went silent again. Brooks shook her head. Those systems don't trust us. They think we're just another council puppet. Not anymore, Marcus replied. They've seen us break free. That's our message. That's our offer. A new alliance, one not ruled by the council. David Tran leaned forward. And if they refuse? Marcus lowered his voice. Then we're already finished. He turned back to the screens. He watched the enemy fleet slowly tighten its hold around Earth. His heart sank, but his resolve grew stronger. I need a ship, one that can move undetected. I'm going out there myself. Brooks crossed her arms. You leave now, and you may never come back. Marcus nodded. I know, but if I stay here, Earth falls without a fight. The president stood again. You have approval, but make it fast. Marcus didn't waste another second. He walked out of the room, leaving behind fear, doubt, and rising anger. He knew his mission had only just begun. Somewhere beyond the blockade, there had to be worlds willing to stand with Earth. He had to find them, because if he failed, Earth would stand alone until it broke. The blockade over Earth had tightened like a noose. No ships entered. None left. The skies above the planet were filled with the dark shapes of council warships. Every citizen could see them, even with the naked eye on a clear night. The sight haunted them all. But Marcus Wilson had already slipped through. Deep underground, in the old tunnels beneath the new London Defense Base, there had been a hidden launch platform, one of Earth's last secret projects. Only a handful of trusted officers knew about it. They called it the Needle, a small, black-coated stealth ship designed to escape detection. Marcus had boarded the Needle under the cover of night. No public announcement, no farewell speech. Only a small crew of 5 people, silent and loyal, joined him on this mission. Their names were not recorded. Their identities were erased from public records. If they died, no one would know. The Needle slipped through the darkness, bending light around its hull, moving like a shadow through space. The council fleet never noticed. By the time Xiron's ships realized the gap in their net, Marcus was already gone. For days, the Needle traveled in deep silence. Marcus spent every hour reading reports, studying maps of unclaimed star systems, and preparing his message. There were only a few worlds that had refused to join the council. Independent colonies, rogue civilizations, and forgotten outposts. Most of them hated the council, but they also hated Earth for being part of it for so long. Marcus knew winning their trust would not be easy. After nearly a week, the Needle reached the edge of Sector 9, a region known as the Drift, a lawless stretch of space filled with debris fields, broken ships, and hidden colonies. Few dared to enter. Most who did never returned. The ship's pilot, a woman named Rhea, turned to Marcus as they approached the first colony. "We're entering free space now, sir. No council presence, but no protection either. Keep the ship cloaked," Marcus replied. "Let me do the talking." The colony ahead was called Carthon's Edge, a mining station floating on the edge of a dying asteroid belt. It looked like it could fall apart at any moment. Rusted metal, flickering lights, and broken towers made it clear this place was desperate. Marcus ordered the crew to hold position. He took a small transport pod and approached the station alone. Inside Carthon's Edge, the air was thick with smoke and oil. Men and women moved like shadows, armed with scrap-made weapons and old tech. Their faces showed hunger, fear, and distrust. Every eye turned toward Marcus as he entered. He raised his hands, showing no weapons. "I come from Earth," he announced. "I bring an offer." The people laughed bitterly. One man stepped forward. His skin was burned from years of mining. His voice was rough. "Earth? You mean the council's pet? We don't deal with lapdogs." Marcus held his ground. "Not anymore. Earth has broken from a council. We stand alone now." The man narrowed his eyes. "And why should that matter to us?" "Because soon, Xiron will come for you too," Marcus said. "Earth has ships, fighters, technology. If we join together, we stand a chance. If we stay divided, the council takes us all one by one." The man didn't answer right away. The people whispered to each other. Finally, a woman stepped out of the crowd. She wore a long coat of patched leather. A scar ran across her face from eye to jaw. She looked like she had seen too many battles and survived too many betrayals. "I'm Zara Vance," she said, "leader of Carthon's Edge. What proof do you bring?" Marcus pulled a small data chip from his pocket. "This holds Earth's defense codes, our shield frequencies, our fleet positions. I offer them to you to show we mean what we say. Notrix, notraps. You can use these to strike us down if you choose." The crowd went silent. Zara walked toward him slowly. She took the chip, turning it over in her hand. "You risk your world's defenses just to win our trust." Marcus nodded. "I have nothing else to offer, but I need you to hear the rest. Earth needs allies. We all do. If we stand together, we can build something new outside the council's control." Zara studied him for a long moment. Finally, she spoke. "You have guts, Earthman. I'll give you that." She turned to her people. "Prepare a council. We'll hear what he has to say." Marcus allowed himself to breathe again. It wasn't a victory, but it was a start. Later that night, in a dim meeting hall deep inside the station, Zara and the leaders of other free colonies gathered to hear Marcus speak. He told them everything. The blockade, the lies, the council's threats. When he finished, Zara leaned back in her chair. "We've survived without the council for years," she said. "But Xiron's reach grows every day. Your fight is our fight. If Earth stands with us, we will stand with Earth." Marcus felt a wave of relief. For the first time in days, he allowed himself to hope. But the moment was short-lived. Rhea's voice came through the comms, sharp and urgent. "Sir, we've picked up council signals. Xiron's fleet is moving. They're preparing for something big." Marcus stood quickly. "Where?" "Earth," she replied. "They're moving to attack." Marcus's heart sank. He had allies now, but he might already be too late. The trip back to Earth felt longer than the journey out. Marcus Wilson stood at the front of the control deck aboard the Needle. His hands were clenched behind his back, and his eyes were locked on the dark space ahead. The new alliance with Carthon's Edge was a small victory, but the news Rhea had delivered haunted his every thought. The Council's fleet was on the move. "Time to Earth?" Marcus asked without turning. Rhea's voice was low but steady. "For hours, sir. We're still cloaked, but they've started scanning the system. If we get too close, they might pick us up." Marcus nodded, knowing the risk. He had no choice. He had to return. As the Needle slipped closer to Earth, the crew listened in on open channels. The Council fleet had begun broadcasting messages. They called them peace offers, but Marcus knew better. It was a trap. The broadcasts promised food, medicine, and open trade, but only if Earth agreed to return under Council rule. The message played on repeat. The same cold voice. The same empty words. Earth's suffering can end. Lay down your arms. Return to unity. Peace awaits those who obey. When the needle finally reached the hidden hangar beneath New London, Marcus didn't stop to rest. He marched straight into the command center. The room was tense, officers moving quickly between screens and consoles. The president, David Tran, looked up the moment Marcus entered. "About time," Tran said. "We're in trouble." Marcus glanced at the main screen. A live feed showed Earth's orbit. The Council fleet had doubled in size. Their ships circled the planet like predators waiting to strike. Marcus spoke calmly. "The Council is bluffing. If we surrender now, they'll strip us of everything. We'll become slaves to their rule." Commander Brooks stepped forward. She didn't look convinced. "And if we refuse, they'll attack." "I've made contact with Carthon's Edge," Marcus said. "They've agreed to help us. They have ships, weapons, and fighters. It's not much, but it's a start." Brooks crossed her arms. "A handful of miners and smugglers won't stop Zyron's fleet." Marcus stepped closer, his voice firm. "We won't win by numbers. We win by refusing to kneel. The universe is watching. If we stand, others will follow." But before the argument could continue, a young officer rushed into the room, pale and out of breath. "Sir, we found a council spy in our ranks." The room fell silent. Marcus felt his stomach twist. "Where?" "In the Upper Defense Network. One of the security officers on the blockade team. We caught him sending coded messages to Zyron's fleet." Marcus's face darkened. "Bring him in." Minutes later, 2 soldiers dragged a man into the room. His uniform showed high rank. His face showed no fear. It was Admiral Rain, one of Earth's top defense advisors. David Tran stared in disbelief. You've been with us for years." Rain gave a slight smile. "I've been with the Council for longer." Marcus stepped forward. "What did you tell them?" Rain didn't answer. Marcus didn't blink. "Tell me now, or you won't leave this room alive." Rain's smile faded. He leaned forward slightly. "They know everything. Your defense grids, your shield frequencies, your fleet positions. The attack begins within hours." Marcus's chest tightened. It was worse than he had feared. Brooks motioned to the guards. "Get him out of my sight." Rain didn't fight as they dragged him away. His last words echoed in the room. "You can't win. Earth belongs to the Council." The door slammed shut. Marcus turned to the others. "We have no choice. We fight." The president looked beaten, but after a moment, he nodded. "Get the people ready. Sound the alerts. Mobilize every ship." Marcus reached for the comm system. He opened a direct line to Zara Vance on Carthon's Edge. "Zara, it's time. The Council is moving. We need your fleet." Her voice came through quickly. "We're already on the way." As Earth's defense systems powered up, Marcus stood at the window, watching the enemy fleet grow larger on the horizon. The Council had betrayed them. The war had begun. But Marcus knew something Zyron didn't. Earth wasn't standing alone anymore. The sky above Earth turned black. It wasn't night. It was the fleet. Dozens of Council warships filled the orbit, their engines glowing faint blue, their weapons charged and ready. They moved as one, like a wall of steel closing in. The people of Earth watched from the ground, staring at the dark clouds that weren't clouds at all. In the global command center, alarms screamed through the halls. Red lights flashed on every screen. Defense crews ran to their stations. Ships powered up in the hangars. Earth's last fleet, the Unity Guard, was small compared to the Council's might, but every pilot knew there was no turning back now. Marcus Wilson stood on the command deck, staring at the live feed. His face was calm, but his heart pounded in his chest. "Status report," he called. Commander Brooks stepped forward. "Shields are up. Defense cannons online. Fighters are ready to launch on your word." "And Carthon's Edge?" Marcus asked. "Zara's fleet just dropped out of warp on the far side of the moon," Brooks replied. "They're holding position, waiting for your signal." Marcus nodded. They had one chance to surprise the Council. One chance to hit them hard before they could fully surround Earth. He leaned over the comm panel and opened a broadcast to every ship, every pilot, every station on Earth. His voice needed to reach them all. "This is Marcus Wilson," he began. "We stand together today, Not because we want war, but because we refuse to live under fear. The Council thinks they can break us. They think we'll bow. They are wrong. We fight not just for Earth, but for every world that still believes in freedom. Hold your ground. Fight for each other. And no matter what comes, never forget, we are stronger than they think. He cut the transmission and turned to Brooks. Launch all fighters. Brooks gave the order. Within minutes, Earth's defense ships lifted off from every port. Hundreds of small, fast fighters broke through the clouds, heading toward the Council fleet. Carthon's Edge followed, their rusty but deadly ships roaring into position. The battle began. Council warships fired first. Bright streams of energy lit up the darkness. Earth's fighters dodged and weaved, returning fire with everything they had. Explosions ripped through the sky. Ships twisted and burned. Metal debris rained down toward the planet below. Marcus watched from the command deck, his fists clenched. The Council's fleet was massive, but Earth's fighters were faster, more determined. They struck hard, hitting weak points in the Council's formation. But it wasn't enough. The Council's heavy cruisers pushed forward, their larger cannons pounding Earth's defense lines. Shields on the surface flickered. Power grids struggled to hold. Brooks turned to Marcus, her face pale. Shields are dropping. If they fall, the surface will be wide open. Marcus knew they couldn't hold forever. He needed to end this now. He opened a private channel to Zara Vance. Zara, do you see their flagship? Zara's voice came through, sharp and ready. I see it. Marcus took a deep breath. Take it down. I'll buy you the window. Zara didn't question him. Understood. Marcus turned back to Brooks. Target their flagship. Prepare the last missile. Brooks's eyes widened. That missile is for planetary defense. If we fire that and miss, we'll have nothing left. Marcus nodded. We're out of options. Load it. The Unity Guard cleared a path through the wreckage. Carthon's Edge moved into position, their ships locking weapons on the Council's flagship, the largest warship in the fleet, the Dominion. It was Xiron's pride, the symbol of the Council's power. Brooks entered the final command. Missile lock. Fire, Marcus said. The missile launched like a spear of light, cutting through the battlefield. The Council fleet saw it coming. Their ships turned, firing everything they had to stop it. But Carthon's Edge took the hits, shielding the missile with their own ships. The missile struck. The Dominion exploded in a blast of fire and metal. A shockwave spread through the Council's fleet, shaking ships, cutting power lines, breaking their formation. For a moment, the sky was silent. Then Zara's voice broke through the comms. They're pulling back. The fleet's retreating. Cheers erupted across the command deck. Officers hugged each other. Pilots cheered over the comms. The people of Earth watched the Council fleet turn and flee into the blackness of space. But Marcus didn't celebrate. Not yet. He knew Xiron would never give up that easily. He turned to Brooks. Give me Xiron. Open a channel to Varexis Prime. Brooks nodded slowly. You're going to face him? Yes, Marcus said. This isn't over until he says the words himself. As the crew prepared the long-range channel, Marcus stood by the window, staring at the stars. The Council had lost the battle, but the real fight was just beginning. The long-range channel connected after several minutes of silence. A large screen flickered to life in the command center. The dark face of Chancellor Xiron appeared, seated on his throne in the Council Hall on Varexis Prime. Behind him stood dozens of Council leaders, their faces tense, their eyes cold. Xiron leaned forward, his hands steepled in front of him. You should not have survived, Xiron hissed softly. Marcus Wilson stood tall, facing the screen without fear. Around him, the command center was silent. Every officer waited for what would come next. You lost, Xiron. Marcus replied, keeping his voice steady. Your fleet is broken. Your flagship is gone. The Council's lie has been exposed. Xiron's black eyes narrowed. This was just a warning, he said. We can send more ships. We can keep sending them until your people starve in the dirt. Earth cannot survive alone. Marcus took a step closer to the screen. And yet, here we are, he said calmly. Standing free. You try to crush us, and we are still here. Stronger than you expected. Not alone anymore. Xiron let out a low breath, almost a growl. You have made enemies of every world that still believes in order, Xiron spat. You have turned your back on peace. Marcus shook his head. You don't know the meaning of peace, he said. You only know control. The two men stared at each other through the screen. The weight of their words filled the room. Marcus knew what had to be done. He could not fight Xiron forever. Earth had won the battle, but they could not survive another war without ending this now. So Marcus spoke again, slower this time, each word sharp and clear. This is your final choice, Xiron. You can let Earth go, recognize our right to stand free, or you can send more fleets and drag every world into endless war. But I promise you this, Earth will never kneel again. The room held its breath. For the first time, Xiron did not respond right away. His cold eyes studied Marcus, searching for weakness, for hesitation. But there was none. Finally, Xiron leaned back in his throne. His face twisted into something between anger and bitter acceptance. You have broken the Council's order, he said. You have weakened us all, but you have also shown that not even the Council's rule is unshakable. He stood slowly, towering over the Council leaders behind him. Earth's exit is confirmed, Xiron announced to the hall. But hear me well, Marcus Wilson, your world is cut from our networks. No trade, no alliances, no support. You stand alone. Marcus nodded. That's how freedom begins. Xiron's face darkened one last time. This is not over, Xiron whispered. Then the screen went black. The command center stayed quiet for a long moment. No one moved. No one spoke. Then Brooks finally broke the silence. Is it done? Marcus nodded slowly. It's done. Earth had won its freedom. But Marcus knew the price. They were alone now. Truly alone. No protection. No allies beyond a few brave enough to stand beside them. But they were free. Later that day, standing on the observation deck above Earth's surface, Marcus watched the sunrise. The people below began to fill the streets again. Factories restarted. Defense towers powered down. The sky was clear, free of enemy ships for the first time in weeks. Zara Vance arrived quietly beside him. She stared out at the planet in silence for a moment before speaking. You did it, she said. Marcus shook his head. We did it. Zara nodded. What happens now? Marcus turned to her, his face serious but calm. Now we build something new. The Council was still out there. New threats would come. Hard days still waited for Earth. But for the first time in 200 years, the people of Earth controlled their own future. And that was worth everything. 2 weeks passed since the final broadcast from Chancellor Xiron. The skies above Earth had cleared. The Council's fleet was gone. For the first time in many years, the people of Earth could look up without fear of ships blocking their sun. But even as the dust settled, life on Earth did not return to normal. Markets were nearly empty. Factories struggled to restart production. Hospitals rationed medicine. Fuel supplies ran low. Earth was free, but freedom had come with a heavy cost. In New London, the Global Command Center remained on full alert. Marcus Wilson walked the long hallways every day, speaking with engineers, officers, and civilian leaders. Each meeting was the same. People asked the same question, what happens next? Marcus didn't have easy answers. No one did. One morning, Marcus stood on the balcony overlooking the city. He could see the crowds gathering in Unity Square. Thousands had come to hear the Council's final decision broadcast on public channels. Xiron had confirmed Earth's exit, but now the Council was expected to make it official by updating the Universal Charter. This would remove Earth from all trade, security, and diplomatic protections. A giant screen flickered to life in the square. People held their breath. The Galaxy Council's new speaker, a tall, pale creature named Velos, appeared on the screen. His voice was dry and formal. Effective immediately, Earth is no longer recognized as a member of the Galaxy Council. All trade routes, defense agreements, and diplomatic ties are hereby dissolved. Earth stands as an independent system, outside Council protection and law. The message repeated twice. Then the screen went black. The people stood in silence. Some cheered quietly. Others looked worried. The truth had settled on all of them. They were alone now. There would be no help coming. Marcus watched the crowd from above. He could feel the weight of every life on this planet pressing on his shoulders. But he refused to let fear take hold. Later that day, Marcus called a meeting with Earth's highest leaders, including President David Tran, Commander Brooks, and representatives from the few colonies still willing to talk. They gathered in the Unity Council chamber, this time not as members of any galactic alliance, but as leaders of a planet standing on its own. Marcus stood at the center table. "We are free," he said, "but freedom is not enough. We need to rebuild. We need to survive. We need to show every world out there that Earth will not fall." President Tran nodded slowly. "We have no allies left." Marcus shook his head. "That's not true. We have Zara Vance and Carthon's Edge, and there are others watching. Other systems waiting to see if we can stand on our own. We build something new, not by hiding but by leading." Commander Brooks leaned forward. "What do you propose?" Marcus looked around the table. "A new alliance," he said. "Not like the Council. Not based on control or fear. A true alliance of free worlds. One that stands for choice. One that respects independence." The leaders exchanged uncertain looks. No one spoke right away. Then Zara Vance, sitting quietly at the edge of the table, stood. "You have Carthon's Edge," she said firmly. "We stand with you." Slowly, one by one, the others nodded. The room filled with quiet agreement. For the first time in weeks, Marcus felt a spark of hope rise again. That night, Marcus returned to the observation deck. He stood alone, staring at the stars. Somewhere out there, Xiron still watched. The Council still ruled over hundreds of systems. But Earth had shown them that their control was not absolute. Zara joined him again, standing at his side. "Do you really think this will work?" she asked softly. Marcus nodded, his voice steady. "We stood alone, and we survived. That's only the beginning." Zara smiled faintly. "Then let's get to work." Above them, the stars seemed brighter now. Earth had faced the greatest power in the universe and had lived to tell the story. They had stood their ground. They had fought for their future, and they had won the right to build something new. The struggle was not over, but Earth was free.